Duke won their first game in the ACC tournament. He didn't return, but he did sit on the bench. We'll have the latest and what else is in play in these conference tournaments with Selection Sunday 72 and a half hours away. Also, an Around the Horn investigation into Seiya Suzuki's Samurai Sword BP. Real or enhanced? Listen to that sound effect. Let's go around the horn.
I pray to God you don't drop that sword.
Precision. Those are real baseballs, Tony.
The height, Cooper Flag elevated and going for that rebound. Then on the way down, grazing the foot of another player, turning the ankle. He was helped off the floor and was seen in a wheelchair going to the locker room. But later, back out on 2 feet, joining his team on the bench for the second half. Coach John Shire says it's a sprain. X-rays were negative. Duke's seeding seemingly locked in at number 1, right? 1 seed at least. Interesting to see if we see him again before next week or even more. Pocket that for a second with what's in play in these conference tournaments with Selection Sunday, 72 and a half hours away. 1 seed, Duke. Auburn, even before them, also got to be a lock. Houston, likely 1 seed, and I'm in search of that 4th one. You can look at Ken Palm's rankings. It's all SEC. Florida, Tennessee, Alabama. Maybe the winner of the SEC tournament gets that, or the runner-up. And then the Big 12, Texas Tech could beat Houston. The Big 10, maybe, with Michigan State. A lot in play here. So Justin Tinsley, around the horn to you. You could start with the Cooper Flag injury or how the rest of these conference tournaments play out to you.
Yeah, I'll just address Cooper Flag just starting off. That collective gust of wind you feel on the back of your neck is every Duke fan and every corporate sponsor heading into March Madness. You need that guy heading into March Madness. But I think Duke is absolutely a lock. One of the most dominant teams all season, and they showed just how good they were today by beating Georgia Tech without Cooper Flag. Now, as for that 4th number 1 seed, I understand Florida is going to get a lot of votes for that, and they should. They're playing arguably the best ball in the country. But I say watch out for Tennessee. If they make a deep run in this SEC tournament, they are right there. And Tony, they're one of the, for my bang of the buck, they're the best defensive team in the country. They're first in opponents' field goal percentage. Yeah. They're second in defensive three-point percentage and third in defensive efficiency. So you take that type of defense and they can slow the game down on offense. That's perfect. That's a perfect recipe for a number 1 seed heading into the tournament.
So Justin volunteers Tennessee as the 4th one. David Dennis Jr. around the horn to you.
I'm going to go with Florida. Yes, Tinsley, I'm watching out for Tennessee. I watched them. I'm still picking Florida. They have had 7 top 50 wins since February 1st. They're top 3 in in defense and offense in the SEC. They've been dominant over the last month and a half in the most difficult conference, probably maybe in NCAA men's basketball history. It's got to be Florida.
Courtney Cronin around the horn to you.
I was always told death taxes and Tom Izzo in March, so I am looking at Michigan State's outside shot right now. They're a lock for a 2 seed in the very least, but they can potentially make a run towards that final 1 seed probably in the West region because they ended the regular season 17-3 in the Big Ten on a 7-game win streak, 5 ranked wins in that stretch, including both of their wins over in-state rival Michigan. I think they've got a chance. They've got 12 quad 1 wins, Tony. That's only second to Auburn right now in men's college basketball. Okay. If Florida stumbles in the SEC tournament, if Houston stumbles in their conference tournament, and Michigan State's able to rack up maybe 3 more quad 1 wins and win the Big Ten tournament, I think.
Woody, what are you laughing about?
And if the creeks don't rise, Courtney, maybe they have a chance too. I'm picking up what Justin's laying down. You're on to something, Justin, with Tennessee. But if I had my way, I'd put all 4 number 1 seeds from the Southeastern Conference. But that's not going to happen.
Homer pick from Woody, but I love the way you make the case for it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Duke's going to be a number 1 seed no matter what happened with Flag today, and we hope he gets back in a hurry. But the reason why I say that is that Houston's going to win. It's going to get 1. You're going to get 2 teams from the SEC. That's what's going to end up happening. You're going to have Auburn and whoever wins the SEC tournament. Michigan State may have a chance, Courtney, if Auburn wins the conference championship too. That's the way I look at it. I think it's going to go exactly that way.
David, I didn't get you on Cooper Flagg here, but how Duke plays the rest of this conference tournament, understandably, is going to come down to how he handles tonight and comes back tomorrow potentially. But David, would you sit Cooper Flagg for the rest of the weekend into next week?
Yeah, I would sit him for the rest of the weekend, especially if that ankle gets worse over the next couple of days, which ankles tend to do in those situations. But I think that they still have that spot secured with the number one for going into the tournament. In terms of that 4 spot, it's got to be somebody from the SEC. That conference has been too dominant not to have 2 number ones coming out of there. Not 4, Woody, but
40
2.
last word.
Yeah, Duke is still a very good team. If Cooper Flagg is not able to play the rest of the way in the ACC.
Could still win the tournament. Could still win the conference tournament.
Con Knippel is the second leading scorer. Kimon Malawach is second in rebounding and blocks. We all want to see Cooper Flagg, the likely player of the year, playing, but the safe thing to do here would be to rest him the rest of the weekend.
NBA now. Knicks beating the Blazers in overtime on the Mikal Bridges game winner last night.
Knicks break. Hart gets it right back to Bridges. Bridges puts up a 3.
That's a double bang from Mike Breen. This came after Bridges said he asked Tom Thibodeau for fewer minutes for the starters. That did not happen. This game went to overtime, so Bridges logged 41. Thibodeau, nonplussed to be asked about that by reporters, and went further saying the conversation didn't happen. So just when you might say, a win makes it all okay, whoa, what do we have here? Around the horn, David Dennis Jr.
What you have right here with the New York Knicks is really an unwinnable situation when there's already a magnifying glass on Thibodeau in terms of the minutes played. If there's anything between now and playoff time regarding injuries, everybody's going to look to this moment where Mikal Bridges came out as the guy, the Iron Man in the league, the most unimpeachable guy to talk about minutes, said, not just privately but publicly, please take down some of these minutes. We're playing too much. And Thibodeau brushed him off by saying saying that the conversation didn't happen, which throws his own player under the bus. So this is an explosive situation. The Knicks, and Bridges, by the way, has played 26 times. We've played more than 40 minutes. That's 22 more than the Cavs and Thunder players combined have played more than 40 minutes. This is a tenuous situation coming into the playoffs.
Corny Cronin around the horn of you.
And Mikal Bridges would know a thing or two about playing a lot of minutes, considering he led the league when he was with Phoenix in minutes, 2020, 2021. And then, of course, he did it with the Nets, too. If this guy's telling you, hey, let's go into our bench depth, back off a little bit, I think you should listen. I will give both sides here a little bit of credit, though. The professionalism that was displayed yesterday when Mikal Bridges needed him all 41 minutes. He's now hit the game winner in 2 of the closest games in NBA history. There were 42 lead changes last night, Tony. They needed him. But on the other side of this, it's not like the Knicks have been blowing people out. They've been to overtime in 5 of their last 12 games. They've needed these big minutes from their stars. But as we're trying to get towards the playoffs, they've got 3 of their wings, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges, top 10 in minutes right now. I don't think a zebra can change his stripes, meaning Tom Thibodeau, but the message here, a very loud one, and your coach kind of calling you a liar, doesn't really sit well with me.
Woody Page around the horn of you.
I think there's a situation of bridges over troubled water there, that when you have a coach basically say the player lied, that they didn't speak it. You got it, Tony.
I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you.
I think the way it turned out, instead of getting fewer minutes, he got more minutes last night because of the overtime, and he hits the winning jumper. I believe that they do need to cut back. You're in the last 19 games, I'm seeing games around where guys look like they're tiring because of the long season, and I believe that we're looking at a situation in Denver, talking about a possible most valuable player again in Jokic, that they're still holding him at 36, 37 minutes because they don't want to push him heading into the playoffs. So I think the player's right here, the coach is wrong, that you have already settled where you're going to be in the playoffs. You're not going to rise above anybody else, and you're not going to fall from that. So why in the world once you pull it back somewhat. But I think him calling his player a liar, basically, by saying it didn't happen, is totally wrong.
They are playing shorthanded now because Brunson's injured. Mitchell Robinson has come back in the last 2 weeks, but he's still getting his minutes up. Josh Hart has been a player in this team who said, I want more minutes, and he's already playing a lot, but that's how he's decided to approach it. Justin Tinsley on what played out last night for the Knicks.
Well, before I get into minutes, Gay Tony, let's play our personal favorite game, the presidential game. Mikal Bridges is the first New York Knick with 30 points and a game winner since the pre-Watergate era, Nixon era. I'm talking Willis Reed in 1969.
That can't
the
be
first
true, is
Knick
it?
to do.
Wow.
No, that is definitely true.
Wow.
That is definitely true. Now, in terms of yesterday and the comments that were made, it was very weird that Thibodeau denied the conversation ever happened, but it was also kind of weird that Bridges made it public, because we know that is the elephant in the room for this team. This isn't anything new. But to Bridges' credit, no one knows about minutes more than Mikal Bridges. This dude just played in his 539th consecutive game. That's the second longest streak since 2000. So his words hold weight here. But it likely won't change anything because Tibbs is...
This was a reunion of a great moment. Story time, kiddies. 2003, 13-year-old Natalie had a moment in the anthem where she lost her way in the words. And who stepped in? Blazers coach Mo Cheeks for emotional support. Oh, I love this. Cheeks is now an assistant on the Knicks staff. So he was there last night. Gilbert sang it, nailed it, and then they shared a moment afterwards. I love everything about that. Want to finish with that. Yeah. Take a break here. Buy or sell is next.
That was a moment.
Before we get to buy or sell, I didn't know this was happening. You know how I said Frank Isola is the minutes police? He's also this paddles police whenever Knicks minutes get brought up. Unbelievable. He said we should bust. That's what he was saying right there. Incredible. All right. What are we talking about? Thunder 118, Celtics 112. You asked for OKC clutch. You got it. Another fourth quarter overtaking of Boston. So the season head-to-head 2-0 Thunder. They're also 22-1 versus the Eastern Conference. For the champs, failure to close again. Number one takeaway from Thunder's win in Boston. David Dennis Jr., first to you.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are quite simply the best team in the league, and the whole idea of they're young and they're unproven, that doesn't fly really anymore because that team plays defense like a veteran team right now. They held the Celtics to 92 points, the lowest the first time they played, and then 1 for 9 from 3 down the stretch. They played with better execution and better defensive presence than that Celtics team played. They should be clear favorites no matter what their age is right now.
I don't like that this was being billed as a finals matchup, because in the finals, the Thunder are probably going to have Jalen Williams, or at least expect to, and the Celtics will have Kristaps Porzingis. But the way that we've seen in both of these matchups so far this season, how Oklahoma City defends Boston and makes them shoot 63 threes last night, missing 43 of them. This is the formula defensively that it's going to take down the reigning champs.
I don't know if they make them shoot 63 threes. I think Boston's more than happy to shoot.
They keep them out on the three-point line. They want a lot of possessions out
Woody
there.
Page
not
around
get
the
beat off the dribble, Tony.
Yeah, I've seen the Thunder play 3 of their last 4 games, 2 against the Nuggets, and I'm so impressed. They are not only so good defensively, but the depth on that team is better than anybody's. They had 7 of their 9 guys last night had double-digit figures. I think that even though the Western Conference is so tough now, that is the team to beat.
Justin Tinsley around the horn of you.
I'm going to focus on Boston, and yes, they are two true title contenders, But 2 things concern me. You already mentioned one of them, their inability to hold leads, and 2, they're addicted to three-pointers. They're averaging 48 three-pointers a game. In the first quarter, they took 24 shots, 22 were threes. And then, as David mentioned, they went 1-9 down the stretch when the game was tied at 98 with 8 minutes to go. This is not really a recipe for playoff success when you're just launching threes the entire game.
Last year, right? This team shot a lot of threes.
I don't think you're going to capture lightning twice.
Championship, but you gave the stat 48 threes per game, which is 6 more than they had last year. That's 1 3 a minute of NBA basketball. Wow.
buy it and die by it.
Where is Bob Ryan at?
Buy or sell to Russell Wilson meeting with the Cleveland Browns today and the New York Giants tomorrow. Courtney, fit-wise, what's the best spot for Wilson? Which of these teams should be most interested in?
Definitely not the Giants. I understand that Cleveland also had 3 wins last season, but Cleveland is a more talented roster right now. And if Russ wants to, continue playing competitive football, like above average quarterback play on that team can actually get you to like 8-9 wins next season. I don't think that to be the case with the New York Giants. It's just funny. He keeps following Kenny Pickett around, and Kenny Pickett just got there. If Russ signs there, then he gets that job, and they probably don't draft a quarterback second overall.
Woody Page.
Courtney, disagree with you totally. I think he goes to the Giants, plays for a year. They draft a young quarterback like Sanders, and he works with him. Going to Cleveland, they're not going to be any good. Why would he want to go to another place that's just not going to work out for him? I think it's the Giants.
Well, what you said could be true for both teams, right? They could still draft a quarterback if they bring in Russell Wilson at 2 or 3. Cleveland and New York
overwhelmed with
selecting there. Justin Tinsley?
Yeah, I think Cleveland is the better fit, and you're hoping Russ plays like he did with Pittsburgh last year between weeks 7 and 14, where Pittsburgh was 6-1, and then the last 5 games, his QBR dropped 20 points. So whoever signs Russell Wilson, whether it be Cleveland or New York, you still need to draft your long-term replacement at quarterback.
David Dennis Jr.
I think Cleveland makes the most sense with the personnel there. You have an outside shot of making a run, but even if you don't, you can still draft your quarterback. They can learn under Russell Wilson, and you can have something for the future while you kind of build a little bit morale for that team and that franchise and that fan base, which needs a little bit of a boost this season.
Word from a producer in the back row did not like the minutes argument made by David Dennis Jr., and that is how he gets eliminated today. Cordy Crody as well. Paige Tinsley. Showdown there.
Yes.
Players Championship underway today. This is from yesterday, though. A practice round hole-in-one on 17. And Alejandro Tosti jumped in the water to celebrate. Woody, is a practice round hole-in-one jump in the water worthy?
Practice? You saying practice? Practice hole in one? No, I played there. I haven't hit it in the water, but he didn't realize how cold that water was, even though it's Florida. No, you don't do that.
Absolutely not. No, not on a practice round, not when the caddy did it the day before. And it's Florida. There's probably gators in that water. And with the way health regulations are being sliced in this country, who knows what that water is like? So this is absolutely uncalled for.
No, you guys really went into the water here. Woody, did you say you've never hit it in that water? You've played there? You've always hit it onto the green?
Into traps, mostly.
Okay. Showdown 2, the fastest overtime goal in NHL history.
Stevenson, right away, set play, Montour, breakaway, score!
4 seconds. Brandon Montour gets Kraken, and the Kraken beat Canadians. Justin is scoring a goal in 4 seconds like that. More about great offense or bad defense?
Tony, my man, you know the phrase, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. This dude was ready so he didn't have to get ready. Shout out to Montour. This is all about the offense.
Woodrow?
No, that's defense. I mean, really? You can't stop it in first 4 seconds? It's the easiest play in the world to stop because he's got to come from mid-court, mid-ice.
Okay, all right.
They didn't stay ready.
Justin Tinsley. MLB in Japan, Seiya Suzuki. Taking batting practice with a samurai sword. It's cool, and it sounds incredible. Just take a listen. But some have pointed out the history of cool videos on the internet, not always 100% in that they're real. Here, Woody, is this real?
Of course it's real, and I love it. It's the way I slice through these opponents every time I'm on the show. And the other thing, if you're going to live by the sword, you're going to take batting practice by the sword.
Justin Tinsley.
Yeah, this is absolutely real. It's cool as hell. I did not realize those swords made that actual sound. So even if it is fake, it's real in my eyes. And I'm just so glad that he did not lose control of that sword. That's what I was thinking the entire time.
You really pronounced that W, the sword. I like the way you say that.
Yeah.
The sword is swift. All right, but there was nobody else in the shot, right? There was no background or other players for the BP. You couldn't see, the seams of the baseball when it was cut like that. But all right.
The records don't even matter.
Did train with the samurai sword. So there is a little bit of baseball history in what he's doing there. We'll take a Woody Page FaceTime.
Just back from spring training in Arizona last night, and two things that I saw. Los Angeles Dodgers look like a team that could win the World Series again. They've started all their players. They're now in Japan. We'll get a look at them there. But the other thing that I wanted to concentrate on was the new robot umpires and the challenges. And guess what? The Dodgers used 2 challenges in the first inning on a 1-0 pitch and a 2-2 pitch. You save those for the end of the game. They got to figure that out, Dave Roberts.
Almost 900 behind Curry. Curry's got the MVPs and the titles, but he revolutionized the game with his long-range shooting. On the eve of Curry's 37th birthday, Young Masood looks back at 15 years of the chef cooking.
10 years, I want to be, known as a true professional, the guy that played the game the right way.
Ahead to Curry. Curry sets, fires, puts it up. Bang! Steph Curry from way downtown.
They've come in a variety of forms: off the dribble, pin downs, pump fakes, relocations, quick triggers, catch and shoot, step back, sidestep, logo shots, and of course, the signature no look.
Oh my goodness, Steph Curry, you are ridiculous.
15 years after his very first professional triple on October 30th, 2009, Curry will be the first to reach 4,000 three-pointers in NBA history. Not even Curry thought this milestone was realistic after passing Ray Allen in 2021.
Here's Curry for the record. It's good! Stephen Curry, the all-time three-point king in the NBA.
Curry has hit a staggering 105,000 feet worth of three-pointers. That is about the length of 12 Golden Gate Bridges. While many of us will always marvel at the Warriors point guard deftly dribbling through the teeth of the Clippers defense before stunning his own coach, Curry says the three-pointer that changed things for him wasn't a fancy or sexy shot. It came off a broken play early in the 2015-16 season at New Orleans, where Curry opted to launch a 31-footer over Anthony Davis. And speaking of New Orleans, that's where his toughest triple came while being tackled at the end of regulation in Game 3 of the first round in 2015. How about at the buzzer?
Don't call that way. Curry flings it the other way, and he got it!
Steph's most memorable clutch three, none other than the game-winning 37-foot pull-up in OKC. That was so audacious, it earned a double bang.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
And his favorite three? That came on the hallowed Boston parquet, where he delivered the final dagger of a 43-point performance in Game 4 of the 2022 Finals that would help him win his 4th championship and first Finals MVP.
What are they going to say now?
On Golden State's recent East Coast trip, the Warriors star dazzled with a magical 56-footer in Orlando, 3-point lasers that left the Garden and Spike buzzing, and then topping that 2 nights later with a ridiculous turnaround 3 from the Brooklyn logo that surprised his teammates. And I recently asked Steph what reaching 4,000 mean. He says, look, it's a clear milestone for sure, but he never thought in his wildest dreams that this number was realistic after he passed Ray Allen at Madison Square Garden with 29.74. I asked Steve Kerr recently what it means. Obviously, he was a great three-point shooter back in the day, and he said it's unfathomable that Steph has hit 1,000 more threes since he passed Ray Allen in 2021. So how far can Steph take this L? I asked him that, and he said it's up to his knees. Whether or not his knees can hold up 50-50, he's certainly going to try and take this as far as he can.
Yeah, well, and if you're wondering what are the chances that he's going to as he sits just 2 away, he has multiple three-point field goals in 17 straight games. That's the longest active streak among available players. So I'm not a betting person. Actually, I am a betting person. I would probably bet on that tonight. The Warriors obviously have much bigger fish to fry, right? They're trying to go 13-2 since the debut of Jimmy Butler. How do they plan to keep this going as they creep an inch closer towards the postseason?
Well, tonight they get a big boost. Jonathan Kuminga is probable to return for the first time since spraining his ankle on January 4th. He has been out for a long time, but what he gives them is a more explosive, young, athletic element that they don't have. Steve Kerr said he will bring him off the bench and bring him along in short bursts. He wants to be very careful with Kuminga. He also said that he's going to continue to play role players who have thrived in Kuminga's absence, like Guy Santos. Moses Moody certainly has shined while he's been away. But he also watched film with Kuminga and watched Jimmy Butler specifically to have Kuminga kind of learn how to adapt when he comes back and play alongside Butler. I asked Butler, would he mentor Jonathan Kuminga? And he said, absolutely. He sees Kuminga as a guy that he wants to help develop his game. Listen, Jimmy Butler has been perfect for this team. He has been communicating with everybody. I expect that to happen with Kuminga. You watch him on the sideline. I've seen him numerous times. He'll bring out the whiteboard. He's drawing up plays, talking to Draymond, talking to Steph, trying to get on the same page as much as they can before they start a playoff run.
Yeah, it's safe to say that their basketball IQ might be unmatched. Warriors, by the way, that record of 13-2 since they got Jimmy Buckets is the second best record in the NBA over that span, behind only the Cavs. Youngmisuk with the latest ahead of the Warriors game. Thanks so much, Om.
Al, as promised, let's get back to the Steelers conversation. No more waiting game, at least with Brooke Pryor. As for Aaron Rodgers, well, everybody continues to wait. They wait for a decision.